What's good, yo? Welcome to episode 53 of MKN GNZ TV. I got my man Joseph Berrios, a.k.a. Joe Jobs, a.k.a. Joe A.B.,
Yeah.
a.k.a. what else?
AKA Big Little Poppy, AKA Joe, AKA the kimono dragon, AKA the AKA.
Oh, that's it. We got
Yeah.
in with that one. That one's good. A.k.a. the a.k.a.
Yeah.
Tell me where you're from, Joe.
From the Lehigh Valley, born and mostly raised in the south side of Bethlehem. Moved around a lot when I was in elementary school. I literally went to 6 different elementary schools. So I lived in Allentown, I lived a little bit in Easton, Bethlehem. So moved around, but
Yeah.
most of my pride and joy comes from Southside.
Amen. So shout out to the South. So coming out the South Side, you've like always been hustling the legal way, of course. And that's why you're on the show, because you got a new endeavor, but we're gonna take it all the way back to like the young first Joe hustle, which was music.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit. What made you want to go to the Joe Styles route?
Yeah. So being a product of my environment, what we all thought was cool was either an athlete or a rapper, and I realized I wasn't gonna be an athlete. By the time I hit the 8th grade, I didn't make the basketball team. I wasn't that tall.
Did you have the cornrows though?
I did have. I was White Iverson before Post Malone.
Yeah, you had the cornrows to make the team.
But at that point, it was like I wasn't going to be an athlete, so I decided to go the rap route, and I was gifted with creative ideas and thinking outside the box, and being able to see something, hear something, and value it for more than what it was. To take something that's
kind of found the equity in it right away, huh?
Yeah, take something that's distressed and make it something beautiful.
That's awesome. That might be the title of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the music route. Now, what are you up to? You went to college and everything,
Yeah,
so you were still living, like you were still making gains throughout. Like
Yeah.
you didn't give everything up for music. You were still had your own goals and.
So I went to school. When I graduated, I graduated right around the end of the recession.
Okay.
So I immediately thought, when going to college, I thought I was going to get out and get a great job, because that's kind of what was instilled in my brain my whole life. But when I got out of college, I was going against guys who had 15 years experience, because the economy crashed. A lot of people lost their jobs. So now me having just a college education was no longer good enough. And at that point, I learned really fast that I had to fend for myself. So I was still pursuing music. Grew my fan base to about 10,000 people, was traveling to like California often. I had fans in like Texas, New York, Florida, Cali. I even got fan mail from Mexico once.
Oh my God.
Someone drew a portrait of me from Mexico, which was like
How were they like following you? How were you pumping content to your fans?
At that point, there was no Instagram.
Okay.
So
it was just like YouTube?
Facebook, YouTube, and datpiff.com.
Oh my God,
Shout out
datpiff.
datpiff.com.
That's a throwback.
And I was just really good at building relationships.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, I was probably like, a 7 out of 10 in regards to a rapper. I wasn't the best rapper, and it wasn't a part of my destiny to blow up, but I thought I was going to be signed, and there was, all arrows were pointing towards me being signed to a label. And, I really put my eggs in that basket, and when it didn't pan out, I just needed to start building tangible businesses, because I wasn't receiving my ROI, they call it, which is return on investment. I was investing a lot of energy, time, and money into something, and I wasn't seeing enough in return for the amount of exerted forces I was putting into it. Okay. So I started with building my first company, which was a landscape company, while simultaneously helping small businesses in the area and helping them think outside the box on what they could do different. It was mainly like contractors I was working with, some small shops and brands, and then one thing led to another, and years later I now own still the same landscape company, but I own 4 other companies as well.
That's awesome. Talk about those. What made you what are the other 4s and the other 4, and what made you get into those?
Yeah, so my first company is JD and Family Lawn Care. It has a little over 100 accounts that we service now. It's a well-oiled machine. I have an operations manager. We have employees. Everything's legit. So that's a pretty well-oiled machine that I no longer have to go crazy over. It grows organically like 25% every year, which is amazing for any business. I have an investment company, and for me, you know, it took me around like 2014, 2015 for me to realize that my purpose was much more than just being a millionaire. Like all I wanted to be when I was young was a millionaire, but I wanted it because I wanted the Bentley, I wanted the Rolex.
For the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I wanted the car, and eventually I had the Rolex, the car, and the big house, and I realized that I wasn't fulfilling my purpose on this earth. And at that point, I started to understand that my gifting was my ability to lead, to talk, but at the same time was the ability to bring comfort and to educate people and to help people get out of their situations. So I started my investment company, which was focused on crowdfunding real estate deals, letting regular people take their money that was sitting in a bank making nothing or sitting in their drawer making nothing, and allowing them to drive it with me into real estate deals and to receive an aggressive, again, ROI on their money. And in the past 2 years, I've done, you know, like 8 flips, and you know, people have made well over $200,000 in their returns. So they do extremely
shabby,
well.
huh?
Yeah, they're extremely happy. From there, I started my mastermind group, which is called Bank 7, and what that is pretty much developing entrepreneurs that are doing well, but they feel like they're hitting a ceiling because they're not branding right, or they're not understanding their system right, or they're having HR problems, or they're just not managing their business the way they would like to. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing something wrong. They could be doing everything right, but eventually you have to transition. You have to adapt. And something will work for X amount of time, but eventually you have to change it.
Sometimes you just need someone to evaluate you. That's kind of like, you know, sometimes I have like super talented clients, and it's like, I just stand around, and then it's just that one little thing that needs to be better, but that's a huge unlock, and then they're making gains left and right. So is that kind of, you get to watch the business and learn it, and then.
So it's exactly what it is, and the nice thing about it is, you know, the group is a mastermind group, which pretty much is bringing together like-minded people. I vet people before they even come in to make sure that they have positive intentions. They want to impact their community. They have businesses or they want to own a business, and overall they're not going in there just to hand out business cards and only care about themselves. It's more, what can I bring to the table, knowing that if I put something into this world, I'll receive it tenfold. You know, like whether it's biblical or energy, no matter what you follow, give and it'll come back to you. So it's focused on that, and it's focused on creating content and helping people understand what they could do better. And it's really exploding, and I'm excited about that. And then last but not least is my creative consulting company. So, you know, I partnered with a guy I went to college with, and he is very technical. He is really good at doing photography and marketing, and he was helping companies blow up the same way I'm helping companies blow up. And it was like, why not come together? We both are like little kids in regards to how we think. Like we see a cool car, but we're like, how cool would that car be if it was on fire? You know what I mean? So it's like, how do we take it to a next level, not only from a creative standpoint, but from a business standpoint? And I mean, in the past year, we've been extremely blessed. We've been able to do work with New Balance, Adidas, American Cancer Society, and I mean, all the businesses that are in Bank 7 and so much more. So it's just been a really cool journey along the way.
That's awesome. So that's why I kind of hear making gains. Like, how do you manage your time? How do you get around to all these people while taking care of yourself and then helping them just get to the next level? What's a day in the life of Joe Berrios?
So before, I used to not value sleep. I used to think sleep was silly. That's absolutely wrong. Sleep is extremely important, especially if you want to lose fat or whatever your goals are physically. So I'm very intentional about everything I do. And intentional is a word that I really focus on with everybody. You know, I have a wife, I have kids, so I have to be a father and a husband as well, because if I'm not filling those buckets, then eventually I'm going to become lonely. And how great is it to be successful and not have anybody to celebrate it with?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm very intentional with my time. I schedule things out, and when I'm in the moment, I'm laser focused on that moment. So like, it sounds silly, but I'll schedule a block for my wife and kids at the end of the day, And that block means I got to take my watch off, my Apple Watch off. I got to take my phone, put it away, and I'm like locked in with just them. Throughout the day, I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm in the gym by 5:45. I get out by 6:50. And then at 7 o'clock, I'm already running before most people wake up.
Yeah.
And I just understand what hats I have to wear based upon how I schedule my day.
Yeah.
And when I'm in that hour, in that block, I'm focused on just that business, and you cannot break it. It's like an out-of-body experience, seeing what I'm doing at that moment. And again, I'm very intentional about what I'm doing. So I'm intentional about what business I'm with.
So how'd you develop that? Here we call it like make it count. Don't give me like a shitty rep. Like make that the best rep ever.
Yeah.
And then make the next one the best rep ever. And that's how you're doing it with your time. Like this 20 minutes will be the best 20 minutes ever. Your next 20 minutes. So how'd you develop that like intentional mindset, making everything count as you go through it?
I mean, it's understanding that it's very silly. Like Gary Vee one time said, you're dying every day. And it's the truth. Like nothing is promised.
Yeah.
So while here, you should be sowing seeds. And what I mean by that is while you're here, you should be developing your legacy every single day. And, you know, there's all those cliche sayings like, you know, live it like it's your last day, or whatever the case may be.
But it's real.
But
That's
you
why it's a
have to
cliche.
actually be intentional about that, because, you know, at any given moment, it can be your last moment. So like I'm very focused on making sure I'm the best version of myself, which means I'm being impactful, which means I'm helping others, which means I'm being a great father, a great husband, which means I'm available when I'm available to those to help, whether it's just being an ear to talk to or being the person that's telling them what to do. The more I can impact people, I feel like only like 0.5% of people think that way. Like, how can we help the world be a better place? While I'm here, while I'm sowing them seeds, while it's, you know, today might be my last day, I'm focused on making that 0.5% turn into 1%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's doubled. And it'll compound after the fact. After my legacy is done, it'll keep compounding as long as I'm sowing the seeds with the right people and the soil's fertile enough where everybody's thinking the same way, so that I'm duplicating my mindset with other people.
So
if that makes sense.
We're just going to have a world of like Joe clones.
Be dope.
Everyone.
People would be happy. People would be goofy as hell.
Productive as hell.
Chick-fil-A would be the most profitable business ever, because everybody'd eat chicken nuggets.
Sell out of chicken. Ain't no more chicken.
Yeah, chicken nuggets would like be a hot commodity.
Chicken nuggets would turn into diamonds.
Yeah.
Be as rare as diamonds.
Yep.
That's awesome. I think that's great, spreading legacy, because I'm kind of on the same kick. Like all the athletes I pour into, all the people in the gym, it's like what calls you, you know? It's I could be a little more intentional in my time, I think. Sometimes I get caught scrolling, or I don't make it out the house on time. You told me you were going to be a little bit late, and you were actually a little bit early. That was, you know, awesome, being respectful of people's time. But just, you know, the funeral, like you said, Gary Vee, like how many people are going to show up? You remember Andrew Lee, right? From like way back, high school. And I remember just being in the car with him. We'd like, man, if we like passed right now, like would a lot of people show up, or would it be like a whack one? And I always thought like, man, I want like a big funeral. I want people to say I impacted them and feel like I was a part of their life, you know?
Yeah. Well, they say, you know, on your tombstone, the day you were born and the day you die aren't what's important. It's the dash in between them both.
I like that one.
And when I heard that, that really like settled with me, because it makes so much sense, you know. We want to celebrate what existed in that dash. And if that dash is filled with like negativity and just excuses and whatnot, you know, there's nothing to really celebrate. But if you're a happy person that's really trying to bring joy to other people, they're going to want to celebrate who you were. And that's how I want to be viewed.
So let's wrap up with like Bank 7. Where do you see the goals of that and that like community that you're growing? Kind of your newest business and endeavor. Yeah. And then just shoot out some like advice. It's usually for kids, but I know adults watch it. So like maybe someone new to business or.
I mean, Bank 7, the goal is to create a duplicatable system where, you know, right now it's in the Lehigh Valley and it's traditional, what they call belly to belly business, which means we're sitting together. But the goal is I want to take this system and be able to really structure it where I can remove myself and it operates on its own, because that's what a business is supposed to be. Once I'm able to do that, I can duplicate the system in other cities. And the more I can do that and duplicate the system down the East Coast and move it west, the more it will become the clones of Joe, or whatever you want to call it.
The more you get to spread your mindset.
Yes, exactly. And the more impactful the company will be on the world in general. So for me, the next goal is over the next 12 months is really delegating the positions to the people that I think are very valuable and are extremely awesome at what they do. And then being able to take the entrepreneur that I think could kill it and the entrepreneur who's really already killing it and bringing them to the table together and allowing them to collaborate on bigger things. Because I remember, again, when I graduated, I was up against guys with 15 years experience and nobody wanted to let me sit at the table. So I had to develop my name for myself. So now I want to be able to bridge that gap for the people I think have enough of what it takes. I'm a big believer of being who you needed when you were younger. So like I mentor high school kids from the fall all the way to the spring, literally Friday nights from 9 till midnight. And like if I take this shirt off, I'm tatted from the neck down, and I look the part of what they think is cool, whether it's rap, acting, athletes, but I'm pitching to them something positive rather than being, the young guy who's pitching to the high school and middle school students like, here, take that, move that, which you know what I'm saying, what I'm implying. Instead of saying that, it's like, no, work hard, be the best version of yourself, bust your ass in the classroom, bust your ass around people who are successful and show them that you have what it takes. Learn from everybody, learn from your mistakes. Failure is not something that will define you for the rest of your life. Be willing to fail and take risks, but at the same token, be willing to learn and push forward and invest your energy and learn from that and invest it properly, whether it's money, time, physical fitness, whatever the case may be. If I had any advice to give to anybody is to read a book. It's called, and I don't know the guy, so it's not like I'm getting paid for the plug, but it's called The Miracle Morning. And literally, when I read that book, I was going through a time where I felt like depressed. Like I took a big financial loss. I weighed the most I ever weighed. I was just really stressed out. And like this guy literally died. Like he got into a car accident driving from an event where he was making $250,000. He's killing it. He's like 22 years old and got into a car accident and he died for a couple minutes and was in a coma for like 6 months. Well, during those 6 months, his girlfriend left him. He lost all that income. Like his life crumbled. And he was able to rebuild it. And then the economy crashed and it crumbled again. He was able to rebuild it. But what he focuses on is, again, being intentional about your time and making sure the first hour of your day is very influential towards the rest of your day. So wake up. If you pray, pray. If you read, read. Do some type of workout. Make sure you shower. Make sure that you're wired and ready to go instead of waking up, brushing your teeth, and just walking right out the door. No, wake up and be intentional about your day, and the rest of your day will be easy breezy, and you'll be able to make that much impact. But if you're waking up and you don't really have any type of focus, then at that point, it like crushes you. Another big thing, a piece of advice I'd give to the youth is find mentors. Never be afraid to ask for help. A closed mouth don't get fed. Another cliche saying, but if you understand it, it makes sense. I'm a big believer in having mentors, and no matter how old I am, I'll forever seek mentorship. Doesn't have to be from another man, it could be from a woman. Doesn't have to be from someone older, it could be from someone younger. You can gain from anybody, but you have to be willing to ask for the mentorship. And one of my mentors just wrote a book called The Theory of Five, focus on mentorship. And like the way I met him was he tried to hire me for a job. And I was like, listen, with all due respect, I'm focused on getting to this goal. And not that you can't get me there, but it's not part of my plan. I said, however, if you don't mind, I'd love to sit with you once a month. I'll pay for lunch. I just want to be able to pick at your brain and express my ideas and give me feedback. And that blew his mind. And this guy is like,
you said no to the job, but you said like, and then you pitched him on hanging out.
And so I was like, however I can bring value, I will bring value. And I mean, this guy is like friends with multimillionaires. I'm talking hundreds of millions. Like his network within his phone is a couple $1 billion. So it's amazing to have that person as my mentor. So be willing to seek mentors, be intentional about your time, wake up early. What else can I say?
You said it all, baby.
Yeah.
You good, man. You keep making gains. You keep making gains too. What's up, YouTube? Shout out to the Metal Army. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please subscribe to us over here and check out this video right here.